friends and family. I'm Brian for Apocalypse Movies. I'm here with Jake, and we are here to do a little Marvel rewind for the season finale. Hopefully not series finale of
It's
Moon Knight.
definitely not series.
Yeah,
Definitely not.
Yeah. But thank you for joining us. I know we had a little bit of a brief hiatus for 4 and 5, but we're obviously not gonna not talk about the finale. But before we get going, how you doing?
I'm sweating my balls off over here. And I just want to make sure everybody knew who are watching. Not that you guys care, but I am sweating my balls off over here.
It is.
Do you guys know we
cool 93 degrees here?
And we usually do the show about 6:30. But we both had some things going on tonight. We're like, well, let's just get it over and done with. But I totally lost track of time, and I was outside mowing the lawn not 15 minutes ago. And now I'm trying to recuperate and get all that away from me. But I also didn't realize the past. We only did 3 episodes. This is the 4th. The first 3 episodes, I didn't realize how loud that intro is. I usually am able to adjust the volume. I must have just forgot to adjust the volume when I made the intro. It is loud. And I don't know why I noticed it now. But yeah, I had to turn it down at the beginning and then turn it back up. So, but yeah, anyway, that's some nonsense for me. Hi everybody.
Sir. No.
I mean, as you guys can tell, May the 4th be with you.
We didn't plan this either.
1,000% not planned. Yeah.
We obviously are celebrating May the 4th. So May the 4th be with you guys. For me, they allowed us to wear Star Wars stuff at work today. So I took full opportunity of that. Got my hat, got my shirt. The only pair of R2D2 stance socks I have. That's the bottom of them. That looked gross. But yeah.
Brian needs to clean his floors, apparently, everybody.
Apparently. I think it's probably my shoes. But yeah. But let's get straight into it. We haven't been here. Haven't gotten to talk 4 or 5. We are probably going to do a separate whole shebang because that way we can get more voices on it other than Jake and I. But overall thoughts of the season finale, we'll say.
Absolute banger.
Okay.
In my opinion, it's actually not the best episode of the season. I thought 5 was the best episode of the season. And I said it on Twitter, and just because we haven't been here, I'll say it here. I think that episode 5 might actually be the best episode of any of the Marvel shows.
Okay.
It's an incredibly intelligent episode, very, very well written, and performed obviously by Oscar Isaac. But anyway, episode 6. And I've said it multiple times before on this channel. I'm an absolute sucker for mythology and history. And then when you basically unleash the gods and do what they just did, on top of having like the super cool badass MCU fight stuff, on top of introducing an incredibly sick hero, there's a lot of things to love from this episode. And I love the all of the monstrous god stuff when they're towering over the pyramids. And I also love the small fights with Harrow and Moon Knight and Layla. And yeah, it's really cool. And there's a lot of ins and outs of the episode that are very cool to talk about as well. Like how quick and easy the transition is now from Mark and Steven. Super cool, which I'm sure we'll get into. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. I'm a little iffy on the ending, I'll be honest, because it was like super abrupt.
The ending
super
or the
abrupt.
Post?
The ending of the episode was like just like literally just like happened. Like it didn't feel like a closure. But we'll get to the post-credit scene as well. But yeah, no, I really, really liked it. Really liked it.
Yeah. It was good. It felt very rushed.
Well, and I didn't want to say that off the get-go, but
I don't have a problem saying it because this is one of my favorite superheroes, and I was just like, whoa.
That's the one problem I had.
I was like, okay, we really tried to it felt like, and my own thought logic felt like Oscar Isaac had another movie coming up and he had to get this done. And like, it felt very, not rushed, but like quick. Like I don't even know how to describe it.
No, you're fine, and I agree with you. It's the one negative I did have out with the episode, and I don't know if it has to do with Oscar Isaac, but this is a problem we've had with MCU on Disney Plus so far. Remember, WandaVision was originally supposed to be 10 episodes. They cut it down to 9.
Yeah.
Falcon and Winter Soldier was supposed to be 9. They cut it down to 6. Like they've had it almost felt like there's a 7th episode that should have been, and this was 6 and 7 into one.
I felt like there were still 20 more minutes that needed
that's
to
what I'm saying.
be explained in this episode.
And I think we talked about it in both WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier, where, okay, that's fine. If you're going to do that, cool. But make the finale longer. Like, make sure that the
finale should never be the shortest episode.
I think it was, 42 minutes?
42 minutes.
Yeah, 42 minutes.
Starting off with episodes that were like 56.
It should be near an hour. If not a little over. And it's a small knock, but it also, you could tell while watching it that, like, for example, within the first 10 minutes of the episode, within the first 10 minutes, Layla had already become an avatar. It literally was boom, boom, bang. Mark went to go save Steven, Layla released Khonshu, and boom, she was an avatar. Yeah. It happened like that. And when you have a finale, and not just that, but and I always mix it. Is it Amit or Omnit? Amit. Okay, so Amit should have been in 2 episodes, not 1. Because I love that character.
Oh my god. I was
the crocodile was effing incredible. It was incredible.
So cool. I just wanted to see all the gods fight. It was
me too.
Cool.
Me too. And maybe there's a possibility of that, but that god fight scene was incredible. But it just felt like she appeared and then she's now gone. The whole season was literally from episode 1. The first person we saw in the entire series was Haro.
Yeah.
We saw him putting glass in his shoes, walking out. So we knew from the get-go it was a big part of the series. The entire series, it was Amit. And then Amit is gone within 15 minutes. Right? There was another MCU property that did that in the past.
Less than 15 minutes.
Or something just recently did that we talked about, that had a villain show up at the end and then they were gone. And there was no point of that
MCU?
character. Yeah, maybe it was an MCU. I'm trying to think of.
Well, it's not DC. They haven't done anything. Peacemaker.
No. I mean, I know that that was a lot of people's issues with the first Doctor Strange with Dormammu. How Dormammu showed up at the end and then was not involved, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of similar, but not really. It just I want to get away from this whole. We're building towards a big. Oh, Kingpin was a great example, but we're going to be seeing Kingpin again. I hope.
Yeah.
Anyway. I just want to get away from building up this villain and then them only being in a quarter or a third of the final episode.
My thing was this person, as I battle the sun.
Just turn your camera a tad bit. Oh, that works. There you go.
That's fine. Obviously, Amit's not going to be running around for a long period of time because this is a powerful person that's literally ripping souls out of people's bodies. So you don't want this person.
Looks like Godzilla.
Yeah, you literally don't want this person out for that long. But you got to have it out for more than 15 minutes. 15 minutes might even be pushing it. Length of time that we saw this character walking around.
Yeah, and they probably could have found a way to lengthen the time that the character was around before she started sucking souls. Right? Because once you start sucking souls, yes, game over, needs to be stopped, obviously. But when it was just regular crocodile size, you could make a little bit more time for that. I know that it was bada boom, bada bang. She had been around for 2,000 years waiting for this moment. Duh. But there's always something that you can write to make sure that character is around longer. For every character, that's possible.
Yeah. It was kind of I expected her to be released. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I expected it to love it as much. So like
I loved it, bro.
I know,
Loved
so did I. And so immediately like I'm like, oh crap, like I want this character for like a while. And then now I want all the gods and just like
I hope we get
everything.
it, Brian. I hope we get it one day, man.
I think you will have, I mean, there's still two gods that are like equally like not
That's good.
That at least in Egyptian mythology that you could use. But like seeing two gods fight each other was legit. They did like in a cave and then they grew to Pacific Rim size and it was legit.
It was cool seeing Khonshu go full Khonshu. Like
Oh
his abilities, and it's not just like wielding the staff, but he has like that it's almost like a transportation. You know what it reminded me of when he was doing that like little spinny thing?
Mm-hmm.
When in Harry Potter, when they transfer places.
Oh Jesus Christ, I'm having a blank.
Portkeys.
A port key. Oh, you mean the spinning thing?
Yeah, when they go away, it looked like that. But he was essentially just going from one side of her to the other. It just reminded me of it, like a little Easter egg. But it was cool seeing them grow, and that's a perfect term, as Pacific Rim size, and then just go full ham at each other. Like, and I love the one shot of, I think it was Mark or Steven, one of them on the ground. Haro's walking towards him, and they're fighting in the background. So sick.
Was it the apparate? Thank you. That was what I was, Sean.
Thank you, Wingblade. Thank you.
So the God fight, I think, was just like, oh my God.
It lived up to the hype for sure, but
I didn't expect a God fight.
I mean, I kind of did, just because if you release Ammit, Moon Knight can't fight Ammit. Like,
yeah.
You know, it was kind of just like lingering there. Like when you think of, like, ultimately, I don't think Moon Knight could fight Khonshu, obviously. Right?
Oh, no.
You know, so like, no matter how powerful Moon Knight is, like, they're still gods.
Yeah. I know you want to talk about Layla.
Can we talk about Layla, please?
Yeah, I was literally.
Can we talk about Layla?
Dude, she's a effing badass character.
And I didn't have time to pull a screenshot. Actually, I might have. I was gonna pull one before the show. I think I have one, but it's not super high res, and I'll bring it up.
That's fine.
But it gives us enough. But so like, look, going into the show,
I was gonna say I did not even think about her being Tiamat's avatar. I thought
so. We talked about on episode 3, I think. If Layla could become an avatar, we talked about that. But we had met her in the hippo, and I don't know her name. What's her name, Brian?
Tiamat.
Tiamat or Tiamat? So anyway, I'm gonna call her Hippo. I'm just gonna say Hippo. We hadn't met the Hippo yet, so at that time
Tower.
I was gonna say, I thought there was a W in there.
Tiamat. I'm thinking of a different one.
And so we had threw around some ideas because we had just seen the episode where they enter the temple, and we were like, oh, I mean, there's a possibility there. You know, maybe she becomes an avatar, because we had heard that Khonshu really wants her to be an avatar.
Dude, can I tell you? They made Khonshu dirty, like in the comics, where he's like, this guy, I want you now. Let's go. Like, and I'm tossing this guy, and then Mark always is like, go ahead, find someone else. You're gonna regret it. And then Khonshu. That is literally exactly how the relationship is. He constantly is just like, I want that person now. Mark, we're done. He's like, go for it, bro. And he always ends up doing someone else and going right back to Mark. When I saw that, it's literally ripped. And that's how like Khonshu always plays like that. He's always trying to be like do the best, grab the best and stuff like that. And always backfire. It's
a gold digger essentially is what he is. He's essentially a gold digger.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it wasn't. We had heard for a number of episodes that obviously Khonshu was aiming for Layla. He really wanted Layla, right? Mark was just kind of like a means to an end at the point. And that we get that scene between the two of them where Khonshu is essentially like we don't have time. I don't feel Mark anymore. He's not here. We don't have time for this. Like you need to take the suit. And she's like, no, bro. Like, sorry, I'm not doing this. And then we get the moment where Mark saves Steven. They get back into the real world. And he feels Mark again. And Layla is essentially left on her own on an island. She's like, okay, what's happening?
Mm-hmm.
And then Toweret, I'm just going to call her Toweret. I'm going to call her Hippo, actually. I'm going to call her Hippo. Hippo starts talking out of nowhere and it's like, you could be my avatar. Like a total 5-year-old kid who's super excited at the candy store. And then I love that moment where everything comes crashing down on Layla. And she goes, I have such a great idea for the super suit.
She is so funny. The way she talks, ever since the hi, like I'm just like, I love you. Like,
I'm with Sean and Andy in the chat. I think I'm in love with Layla. Like Layla is my new favorite addition to the MCU. Love her.
She reminds me so much of like that badass shit. What's her name from The Mummy?
Rachel Weisz?
Yeah, but what's her character?
Oh, Sophia Botella?
No. Emily Weiss's character.
Rachel Weisz's character.
Oh, Rachel, sorry. It starts with the E.
Edie? Ellie? I had it last week and I forgot about it. Anyway,
she's just
look at how cool she looks,
dude. Her
and
suit.
I'm sorry that it's not super HD. I didn't have time to pull one that was HD, but like, it is such a great combination of so many things that we've seen in the past in like comic book genres, and people are calling her like the Falcon Wonder Woman hybrid. Essentially, is what they're calling her.
Yes, it gives you very much Wonder Woman's fight.
Golden Eagle, the Golden Eagle. Evie. Thank you, Sean.
Evie. That yes. Dude, she is a bat. This girl stole parts of this show from freaking Oscar Isaac.
I was gonna say, Brian. I walked out of the series not being excited about Moon Knight, being excited about Layla.
Dude, legit. I'm excited about Layla over Mark and Steven right now. I don't have a problem with it. Like this actress was plucked out of American obscurity, let's say. And she is arguably people's favorite thing coming out of this show. Like she was fan-freaking-tastic and so believable as this character, such a badass that like she was never once some like damsel in distress or like just like this helpless, oh, woe is me. She was just like, F you, I'm going to get what I need done. And like, even when she's like, oh, I'll be your avatar, but I'm only doing it for like a little, like she's like,
no, she's holding on to that. She's holding on to that for sure.
I hope so. Cause she's
100% going to be Hippo's avatar going forward. And I want to bring up this comment from Andy. Hippo. I was expecting the suit to be Hippo themed, but when she came out straight up looking like reincarnation of Isis, my brain, heart, and soul left my body. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, Andy. You are not wrong.
It was awesome. Like them double team fighting was
dude, she really, and obviously you get some kind of like ability once you put a suit on, like you become something else, but the way that she fights is what interests me the most. Like how she uses, I'm just going to call them wings for the sake of the conversation at the moment. But in this shot too, and I didn't know if I have to go back and watch it because I've only seen it once. She's also holding swords, which is awesome.
Yeah. And
I don't know if we saw her use them or not.
Not really.
But that is an incredible addition to the costume. And I don't know if you know this, Brian, but I saw this on Twitter. Someone had posted, because I had watched the episode, I had dove into some spoiler stuff. But there was that great line from Hippo saying, oh, your dad's going to love this when he hears this. Like, what a great comeback. But I learned today via the internet that her dad in the comic books apparently has a superhero alter ego called Scarlet Scarab, I want to say it's called.
Yeah.
And people are saying that this is kind of like a a modern day version twist on it now that it's her.
I could see that. It makes sense. He's not a huge character. It's like a
But we're never going to see him, is my point.
no, God no.
Yeah. So maybe this is kind of like that adaptation version.
They completely reimagined Marlene, who is Layla.
Okay.
And
does Marlene get powers in the comics?
No, not that I can think of. She's just kind of like always his love interest that is there for him. She like, I don't know who I can compare it to. She's just always there for him, but like keeps a distance, but always constantly like has a love for him and knows what he's going through and stuff.
Like Karen Page and Daredevil.
Yeah, except a little bit less helpless than Karen Page. Like Karen Page kind of sometimes struck me as just like the like scream help me. She wasn't so much that in the comics, but they reimagined her to be a badass. And
I'm so happy they did.
She's not some helpless girl that is the love interest for a superhero. Like she holds her own and she just is so cool. At first, I will admit, when I first saw her, like I was like, oh, they're really gonna change some stuff.
And did it work out?
It paid off tenfold because like everyone in the chat is saying, plus us and Twitter, like she's freaking awesome.
I want to post the gif of her doing this so bad, but it's such spoiler still. Like I'm just like waiting because it's already gift on Twitter. There's like 5 of them already gift on Twitter.
Oh yeah, I mean,
but I'm just saying it's too early for spoilers, unfortunately. Maybe tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, whatever.
Not that.
No. She's just so cool. Like I could just sit here and just talk about her awesomeness.
It's interesting. Her relationship with Hippo is going to be interesting though, because Hippo is such like a.
I think
she's such a different type of god. You know what is she the god of? By the way,
she's just a pharaoh. Like she's like the one that is essentially like, you know, in Greek mythology, the person that takes the bodies to Hades.
Yes,
it's essentially that.
Oh, so
she's the pharaoh to the afterlife, essentially.
Interesting.
So, and that's why she took him to the field of reeds.
Yeah, now well, that makes sense now. That's an interesting choice for Layla to become an avatar for.
Yeah, and then I mean she is the goddess of like fertility and stuff like that.
That's what John Boo said. Motherhood is what he said.
Yeah, it's very much like life, kind of like.
Okay, fair enough. Which absolutely makes sense for Layla.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit mix of things.
Well, they could have changed it a little bit for the show too.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely took her kind of as like the pharaoh of whatever, but yeah, it's like it says helped women with childbirth and stuff like that. Also referred to as Lady of the Heavens. So it's like it's a little bit of like the spirit type stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's not a bad god in any means. Hence why she's like and just like all that all the time.
I love her. I love Hippo, and I hope Hippo never goes away. Like
when she was talking through the dead bodies,
it was incredible.
I was laughing so hard because like these guys are like bloodied and they're like hi, like it's just like in this like.
And then Mark did the same thing, and it's just like, oh my god, what the hell is happening right now?
It cracked me up. Like they did a really good job with just like perfect people for perfect roles. I saw who said earlier, how come what's his face didn't get a suit? I saw that.
Oh yeah, Haro.
Yeah. I would assume, I'm assuming he doesn't need a suit because he uses the cane.
The staff.
Cane. Yeah. That was her power to give essentially.
That was
Moon
his
Knight's-
prize.
Yeah, Moon Knight happens to be the suit. The Hippo gave her a suit as
Hey,
well.
see, it's catching on.
It's quicker and saying Towel Rat. But that was, I mean, she doesn't really need a fighting suit. Her thing is literally ripping souls out of people's bodies for judgment, whereas Moon Knight's is vengeance.
Well, and we saw that the staff could essentially protect him in the same ways that Moon Knight's suit could.
That thing was shooting beams out of it. Too,
that thing is super powerful, and he really did beat Moon Knight until Jake Lockley came out, and that moment where Jake Lockley murders like 15 people.
I'm so annoyed with how they.
Are you? I love that they had the balls to keep us on the edge and not show us a single Jake Lockley thing until next season. I love it. Because you know why, Brian? You know why? Because this entire series was solely about Mark and Steven accepting each other. That's all.
I think I'm not upset. I think it's just more the greedy part.
Well, it's annoying, right? Because Jake Lockley is so important to the comic history of the character.
Well, the three of them. It's always been three.
But how cool is it knowing that when we get a next season, that's the one thing that we know we're getting?
Yes, and that post-credit scene.
Yeah.
If you are a comic book person.
Oh, is that ripped from the comics?
You just exploded. The limo is like his.
I figured
thing. That in the Spectre license plate.
Well, yeah, it said Spectre. Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, that is ripped straight from the comic books. Khonshu in the suit, that is ripped straight from the comic
I've seen in comic books. I've seen that in images. Yeah.
I love it. That I probably lost my mind more for that stupid limo than I did anything else. Because immediately when I saw him in the suit, I knew the limo was coming because it's them just.
This was my favorite part when he kicked the wheelchair. He's such an angry person.
They're making Lockley just this like
haywire.
Oh yeah, he's an
absolutely haywire. Yeah.
The word that every time I think of him is like a berserker. Like it's just
he's a berserker with money. He's the guy with the money, apparently, right?
I
mean, the limo kind of feels that way.
I would assume. I mean, it's not. Mark and Steven would have. I don't think they're going to do a super powered limo. They could, but I mean, like it's a possibility. But I mean, it's funny because Jake Lockley is kind of like a cabbie. So like he looked kind of like a cabbie too.
He 100% looked like a cabbie.
I'm very curious and interested why, not so much why, but they made him seem like Spanish, like he was speaking Spanish.
Was it Spanish?
I think so.
I kind of almost caught and I could be completely wrong again. It was very short lived, but I almost caught like an Italian vibe to him.
Maybe, I don't know. I'd be embarrassed if it was Italian. I honestly don't even.
I'll have to go back and watch it.
So why? I started freaking out when I saw the suit in the limo, so I barely paid attention.
So just to explain this, Brian, to everyone who's watching, who may have a question, may not, or listening, whatever. Because at the end of the episode, Mark and Steven are essentially like, "No, bro, like I'm not doing your bidding anymore. Let us go. We've done what you wanted to do. If you want to kill Harrow, you kill Harrow. Release us." Mm-hmm. And Khonshu goes, "You got it." But little do they know that he still has power over them because he released Mark and Steven, but he didn't release Jake. Okay, that's
what I would assume.
Okay,
I would assume Khonshu always knew he had Jake Lockley, and they didn't know about it, and that's how he's going to keep them tied on the end of a string.
This is actually a much more
maybe
Irish. Lockley sounds like an Irish name.
I guess that would make sense. I said, I started freaking out when I saw the scene. Just honestly, it's limo and him. And the second I saw Khonshu like this, and then like it went to the suit. I was like, oh my god, they're doing, because it's a fairly recent like it. I want to
Yeah.
say it's like 2014, so
Okay.
it's a newer thing, but it's dope. Gordon, I don't think they're gonna do the moon copter.
If we get a moon copter, it'll be very similar to what we saw with the Thanos copter in Loki, where it's just in the background.
Well, no, so they kind of did it. You know how he like took off in the suit and it?
Yeah, he was like jet flying essentially.
So it's essentially that. It's the suit, the crest is almost just like.
Is it spinning?
No, it's like a metal. It reminds me of like a glider. It's like attached to his thing, and then he just kind of like unclips from it and flies, and it's just like a crescent.
I think then that was probably this version of that. Then
that's what I think too, because it seemed kind of like he was propelling, like it made a noise too a little bit. Okay, that's John Booth's subtitles said speaking Spanish.
Interesting. That's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, because it would make sense with Oscar Isaac, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, we know he knows how to speak Spanish.
So. It would make sense. I wanted to bring up Jane's comment real quick, going back to the Haro thing. Really, really good point here is the tattoo, the substitute for the suit, because everyone else who got it became able to give us a judgment. So that's very true. They did have those tattoos.
That's not about it. That's not bad.
The Amit tattoos. So that obviously plays into it.
And also, I don't think everyone needs a super suit. If everyone just starts forming super suits.
Most villains have super suits in the MCU, and it's cool to see a guy walking around on glass being able to have that power.
And we don't even know if the other avatars had suits. They got freaking worked the second.
So I wanted to ask you about that, by the way. The avatar that died with Layla.
That was confusing because I thought that they were working together. Did you not think that?
No, I thought so too, but ultimately they were just duped. They were duped by Haro. They didn't believe Khonshu at the end of the day is what happened.
But didn't he ended up speaking to
Yeah, but I think Haro was kind of playing coy and like almost manipulating them the way he had manipulated everybody.
I guess. I don't.
You would think the gods would be smarter than that, but clearly not.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm drawing a blank, but I thought it was Horus. I think it was Horus's avatar that was the main one. I don't.
And just the avatar died, and Horus is still able to go anywhere, right?
Well, yeah, because I think because if you caught it really quickly, Tauret Hippo said, you know how the door opened for them to go in? She said, Horus, you softy, and let them go through.
Got it.
Okay. And I believe that was the guy that.
I mean, there's plenty of other gods out there, so whether or not he's there,
yeah, there's 9. So
there's plenty of them.
Gordon, Osiris, I have no idea. I can't even think of it at the top of my head.
There's so many god names, and they didn't do a deep enough job of really putting them in the forefront for me to like really remember them, which is what I want.
Okay, maybe it was Osiris.
Which is what I want from, like a sequel. And I know that we're dealing with the gods might be something different in the future, but I would really love the gods to be like in the forefront, like full on, more so than they were this season, because they were only in maybe 2 full episodes, if you will.
Okay, it wasn't Horus. Horus was a different one. It was. You can keep talking. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I was just saying, like, I would much.
Horus was the kind of like white guy.
I would love to see the Egyptian god mythology expanded and almost like a focus of season 2 if we do get one, or when we do get one. I haven't actually physically ever read a Moon Knight comic, so I don't know the types of stories that are available, whether or not he's like just a night vigilante or whatever, but I think it'd be really cool to deal with the gods hands-on with people like Layla and Mark. It seems like next season might focus a lot on Jake Lockley, obviously, and Khonshu, but there's tons of gods out there, and I'd love to kind of, see them come to life and more animals look badass coming out of their avatars.
I mean, yeah, it would be interesting because they all need new avatars now.
And so I have a question, Brian.
They got
Um,
up in that cave.
this entire season, there's been the talk, and I don't have the name off the top of my head, but there's like these 8 or 9 gods.
It's the Enads. Yeah.
The Enads. Did we get any mention of the Enads?
Yeah. That was
Those
like
were-
the whole. Yeah,
those
that was
were
the
the
whole
Enads.
entire thing when they came in. That's well, everyone but 2 of them were there. So I'm assuming.
So the actual avatars were the Enads, or the ones in stone.
So you know how the avatar people were like standing either in front of or behind like a statue. The statue was of the god that they were representing, and that god is a part of the Enad, which is essentially the Egyptian version of like.
But weren't there only like 6 or 7 of them?
No, there's 9 of them.
But no, like that we saw.
Yeah, you only saw 5 plus Khonshu plus Amit.
And they're both Enads.
Yes. And so there were 2 that were missing, and those 2 tend to be not like positive ones. Like,
so do you think that future stuff could deal with those 2 Enads?
Possibly. I mean, there was a shit ton of when she went to go get Khonshu's
the stones. That's what I was at. Yeah,
there was a lot of them. It seemed like
I felt like there was almost like 10 or something. Like
7. I mean, they probably have other like lesser gods or whatever enshrined, but I mean, I would imagine they have more than one, because there was only 5 on the council, plus Khonshu, who's cast out, and then Amit, who's too bad to be a person. Yeah. Oh, that's a good point, Gordon. Bast is technically one. Like,
is Bast an Egyptian god though?
No, not really. He's more of an African god, but I don't think they're going to consider him Egyptian. They're definitely going to keep him.
That's what I was saying. Like, I think it seems like even though we're playing with a lot of gods, like Thor is a Norse god, right?
Yeah.
He's a different type of god with Loki and Heimdall and Odin and all those characters. And now we have Khonshu and Osiris and Hippo and all these characters. And then I feel like Bast is almost going to be put in a little bit of a different section.
They're going to keep
god tier.
Yeah, they're definitely going to keep them separate, I think, personally.
I mean, Egypt is Africa. Gordon is
100%.
right.
100%.
But it is a very different type of culture. That's why.
Yes.
In our world, Bast is Egyptian. Okay, Andy.
Okay, here's this. So here are all the ones that are technically a part of
where's
Egyptian
Imhotep?
mythology.
Give me Imhotep.
Jesus Christ. But see how Tauret literally is a giant like hippo. Essentially. You have Khonshu, who's that bird looking with the beak type thing. And I mean, yeah, it just has all these.
Where's Amit? I can't find Amit for some reason.
I don't see it on there. I don't know. Don't ask me. But it's I mean, Bast is technically one. It's just so all over the place. There's a lot of stuff.
I mean, there's definitely a chance that they could do a story like, and let's jump on this train a little bit about the whole Bast and Avatar and Black Panther thing, because now that we've seen Layla become one, obviously the possibility of more people being avatars down the line, just like the more idea of variants after Loki, right? It's very high that we could see that. What if there's like an idea of like Bast wasn't casted out essentially, but Bast went to rule and look over and become a part of another culture that ended up becoming Wakanda, essentially. Not being cast out, but just kind of stepped away, isn't a part of like Egypt and Cairo and all that stuff, but rules at a different part of Africa, but is in no way, shape, or form on bad terms with Osiris and Khonshu and all those characters. Character Bast just operates on a different plane and rules and kind of guides a different culture in our world. Like, it's very possible that that's kind of the thing where like 5,000 years ago, Bast decided, you know what, I kind of want to venture out and expand the world, and this is how I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, my whole thing is like, I think that you have so many different like cultures, like why not do it? Like you can make, and granted, yes, like they said, Africa is the same continent as Egypt, but like you can get more into like, let's say, a Black story of Africa with Bast and stuff like that. You can get into a more Middle Eastern-ish Egyptian theme with these types of gods and still keep these rich stories. And you could also, I mean, yeah, you could easily make them like they cross paths. Like they are the originals, but like you said, Bast maybe at one point separated himself from it to become, because I mean, Wakanda's closer to the bottom end of Africa.
Yeah.
So maybe like he at one point traveled south and tried to set up whatever he wanted down there. So, I mean, it makes sense to do it that way because like, I get it. Yeah, they are African gods, but like, you don't want to just go all of a sudden be like, yeah, Black Panther's more of an Egyptian god. Like that it just kind of doesn't feel right when you say it like that. So it's just like, I don't know.
So to answer Gordon's question real quick, what if Bast created the heart-shaped herb? I 1,000% think
she
that's
did.
the case.
Didn't they say that she did
I'm pretty sure the opening in that like really cool animated sequence of Black Panther, that's what was said. But I'm like, even if that wasn't like said, that's 100% the case. Like the herb is the way that Bast gives her avatar.
Essentially Black Panther is her avatar.
Black Panther is the avatar, but instead of like the avatar being formed with the god overlooking you, Bast created the heart-shaped herb that is digested, and that is how you become the avatar.
100%.
Which makes more sense of like the only one person can be Black Panther, right? Only one person can be Moon Knight, right? It makes sense.
Yeah. So I know you hate. I'm sorry. I know you hate when it's not a full thing.
No, you're good.
Here is your Enad. This is like the traditional like this. Yeah. Actually, it doesn't look too bad. This is your Egyptian gods. African, Egyptian, whatever you want to see. So you have Bast, obviously looking like the Black Panther. 2 over from him is Khonshu, essentially, because the bird beak. You have Ammit, which is the crocodile looking one on the left. Yeah. So it's, I mean, everything you have is going to be a little bit different in some capacity. But
I would love to see
all
those.
This is a Marvel image. Like this is their Marvel character versions.
I would love to see all those characters come to life at some point. That'd be so badass.
Yeah, they look.
I want to see an army of avatars just wrecking shop on some like mummies and zombies and demented werewolves and stuff. Like, give me that.
Okay, so some things that shocked me about this that they didn't hit. It's funny because yesterday you and Gio both, and I agreed. We're like, Blade's coming, like for sure.
Yes.
Like that's the after credit. After I sat around and thought of it, I was like, maybe it's not Blade and it's like Werewolf by Night because we know the Halloween special is coming and you have more stuff like that.
I agree with that.
So they definitely, I mean, even with the post-credit scene, stuck to a theme and did not waver from it.
No.
Like, to move. So like when the gentleman that made the show,
Mohammed
Diab,
Diab.
When the gentleman said it is not connected to the MCU, he isn't. I mean, it obviously is in this realm, but like there ended up being 0
MCU references,
true MCU references, including post-credit. Like, I personally, when I heard him say that, I thought, okay, there's not going to be anything that connects until the post credit of this. Post credit didn't do that. It kept Moon Knight's story going. And I find that very interesting because his story still isn't truly connected into this MCU.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. Like, and even if it is some type of connection, it's like string thin. It's not like there's freaking Blade, or like they referenced the Avengers. Like there was none of that really. It was
I love it.
Moon Knight's story.
I love it
from the beginning to the literal post credit end, and I thought it was unique, and I kind of don't hate it.
Well, and he's such a unique character, but he's also, out of everything we've gotten, he is the most different out of anything we have in the MCU.
100%.
And on top of being the most unknown, like nobody knows Moon Knight as a recognizable character, especially along names like Captain America and Spider-Man and the X-Men and all Doctor Strange and all these characters, right? So I think it's a really, really cool idea and smart, honestly, in my opinion, that they're not going to connect anything major until possibly season 2, or maybe reference something that happens in season 2 or between those two timelines, I should say. Yeah. We also have to keep in mind at the moment, the only thing that has actually happened in the MCU major that has taken place on that continent where he resides is Eternals. We've seen things happen, right? Like Spider-Man Far From Home happened in London, obviously.
Well, Black Panther, technically.
Well, no, okay, yes, but I'm talking about in England specifically, where.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Africa, like
no,
Egypt.
Like where Mark is usually from, right? Like the series was kind of pretty much based in London for the most part. Obviously, they adventured to Egypt and stuff like that, but even more so with Egypt, right?
Yeah.
And at this point in time, there's no need to bring anything into it because we don't have any characters that are majorly set around there. Like I'm sure like they've heard of the Avengers and they've seen the events, but they're an ocean away from anything that's happening in the US. They're thousands of miles from a country that just revealed themselves to everyone in Wakanda. You know, like it's still very fresh, and it also shows that they're not afraid to create something and not have those tie-ins and not bank on the Iron Man showing up, or just as an example, like referencing an event that just took place in Spider-Man No Way Home or something like that, right? Because we've seen that in plenty of other Marvel properties where, you know, something happens and then the next movie, they reference it by name, but don't actually ever focus on it. They just talk about it.
Yeah.
It's really cool that they're saying, you know what? We don't need that. Like one day this character is probably going to meet up with Blade or Black Knight or any of those characters. But right now, we really want to tell his story. We want to adventure into this Egyptian god realm of the MCU, this mythology-based story where you're meeting Mark Spector and Stephen Grant and Layla and Khonshu and all these characters, instead of being like, yeah, we're going to do all this, but you got to throw in a Hulk reference, or you got to say that there was some lightning in the background, or whatever it may be, right? Like,
yeah,
it's refreshing. Also, and I think you mentioned it, it's also really refreshing to watch something and not have to like go frame by frame to make sure you're not missing Easter eggs or mentions or something like a newspaper in the background. Like you can just focus on what's happening right then and there.
Yeah. I mean, there was literally nothing. Like my sister could watch this show and not have watched anything MCU. And
it felt like Netflix Marvel is what it felt like.
Yeah, literally. Like, I mean, anyone could watch this and not have watched any MCU and came out of it knowing just as much as anyone else did.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing like Gabby could literally watch this without having finished the whole entire. I know, but like that's the type of person, like it could be anyone. Like you guys are literally making your way from the beginning, but like you could literally just throw this at any point and be like, this is a story that's happening. Like, and none of the other TV shows have done that.
Yeah,
So
all
it's-
of them have been connected one way or another.
in some way, either
Yeah.
a person or a mention. And it's kind of cool that we're spreading out because, I mean, when you really think about it, as far as Earth, we've really only touched New York,
Wakanda in the U.S.
London, Wakanda, and Egypt. That's it. And like,
Well, I mean, California,
yeah, for Iron Man, for
Malibu,
like,
San Francisco. You know.
yeah. Oh, San Francisco. Good point because of Ant-Man. I mean, there's still a lot we've got going on.
I mean,
So,
Iron Man went to Nashville, Tennessee in the snow one time. You know, just saying.
Yeah. Well, but it's just there's a lot going on. I like that we got kind of like two separate worlds with this English London type vibe, and then going to a complete opposite and the Egyptian. And I'm loving. I love that they. Oh yeah, Sokovia. Good point.
Andy just loves making us sound wrong. That's all.
Yeah, and if you want to say Germany, for
No,
Captain
but you're right.
America,
But I guess we were mentioning more so like the
it
base.
feels
of
like
our
we've
heroes.
stayed in New York a lot.
Well, you're talking about the base of our heroes, not like traveling to Sokovia for an event. We're saying like Iron Man was based out of Malibu, New York, right?
Yeah.
Captain America was in DC. Spider-Man, New York. Ant-Man, San Francisco. Black Panther, Wakanda. Like we're just saying like it's now cool to have like a hero or a character or characters that are England/Egypt. You know, it's cool that
You're
we're kind
literally
of like,
two different continents.
yeah, and more characters are going to do that down the line, and we're going to see a lot more characters kind of be based. I mean, Shang-Chi is a great example, right? Like the entire
Shang-Chi's
middle,
definitely,
yeah,
not
like
any. San Francisco,
the complete, yeah, at the beginning, but the complete opposite end of the country compared to anything else. Like they're not afraid to, and I love how everyone in the chat is now correcting us.
I know everyone's going to mention every single time they touch
every person,
in a
every
city.
place we've ever traveled in the MCU. But yeah, no, you're right.
Kamar-Taj is in India. So
in the last 2 years, though, like for example, and that's including places like WandaVision and or things like WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Shang-Chi. Now we've gone to China and Europe and Egypt, and WandaVision was set in a town in the middle of nowhere. Like we're traveling to a lot of different places that we never thought we would have seen because it's always been, oh, superheroes, let's put a big giant city in the middle of it. And it's been New York, it's been Los Angeles, it's been all these Chicago, it's been all these big cities, but there's so many other things out there that are cool, and they're taking these characters and basing them in places. And we didn't talk about this, but that line with Layla that was so important when she saved that car. Are you an Egyptian superhero? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's exactly what they're doing. They're making heroes of cultures that need to have the heroes.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
Layla was a huge surprise, but a much, much needed surprise.
Yeah. I mean, we are getting all over the place. We're about to get Kamala Khan. We're about to get like, I mean, I can't wait for She-Hulk. I think that's going to be a smash.
That's the one that I was looking forward to the most when they were all announced. I'm stoked.
I think that one's going to be a runaway hit.
Yep, 100%.
100%. They've got so much going on, and I'm very excited to see where it goes. It's funny because I was disappointed, like the initial disappointment, like of that excitement of like, all right, where's this who are we going to connect to post-credit scene? But like the more I sit on it, it's enjoyable in the sense that, hey, we're telling this story and we're sticking to it.
Yep.
And so like sitting back on it, you're like, okay, yeah, we told that story. Yeah, we know it's in the same world. We told that story though. And I mean, they definitely left the door open with Lockley. I mean, they literally never once showed us him until the post-credit scene.
And it was 5 seconds worth.
We got quick little like one-liners where you're like, wait a minute, that was a New York accent. We haven't heard that one. But like you didn't actually, unless you knew the comics or knew anything really about Moon Knight, you don't know the difference.
Yeah.
So, and all the changes were perfect. Like I love The Marlene to Layla change, perfect. I love that the change of Stephen Grant and
Can we talk
Mark
about Steven's
Spector.
fighting style, by the way? We haven't talked
Dude,
about Steven's fighting style.
I would remember and then forget. Remember and forget.
That scene where they were flipping back and forth between the two of them, that was dope. That was dope.
I love the baton. Like he's beating the
It's
crap
dope.
out of people.
So I can't wait to see what Jake Lockley's avatar looks like. Woo!
That could be interesting because I would have thought, if anything, they would have put him in the suit.
I mean, it might be at the beginning of the season. We saw the 3 posters that were released of the 3 different versions of him. And I think you mentioned this, but it might be him in the hood.
The hoodie.
Yeah.
It
almost looks like a broken straitjacket is what it looks like.
It kind of gives me
it was Daredevil vibes. You're right, Andy.
Oh, 100%.
But it's so dope.
I think that's probably a little bit why they stayed away from using that guy's fight a lot, because they would have been like, oh, we have white Daredevil, now there's
he would
red
get his
Daredevil.
butt kicked by Daredevil. So.
Oh, 100%. The show did fantastic. Was it the like most holy crap, like this affects everything? No. But it's for a character that is known by like 20% of Marvel casual Marvel fans.
Maybe even lower than that. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe even lower. Like he's now going to be a named character. Like people are going to know who this character is now. He's going to more than likely, hopefully, appear in some type of Midnight Suns.
He's 1,000% teaming up with Blade and Black Knight. 1,000%. 1,000%.
So I mean,
they are all in England.
Yeah, I mean, give me Ghost Rider with them as well. It's make Ghost Rider Irish Norman Reedus from Boondock Saints.
That's probably
in that old what is the kind of car that he drives?
A Camaro?
Was it a Camaro? The one that like Robbie drives? That was
Robbie in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. drove a Camaro. Yeah,
it was something like that. Although I kind of want to see the motorcycle again.
It's gonna be a motorcycle. If it's Norman Reedus, it's 1,000%.
Oh, 100%. But overall enjoyable. Oscar Isaac. Once they cast him, I was like, we're good.
Yeah,
like we don't know. We don't need to worry.
Did you see his comments today, by the way, when someone asked him about season 2? He's like, he's being super coy, and obviously it's for a reason, but he goes, yeah, I mean, look, if they want to write a season 2 and it's greatly written and it's something that I'm interested in, I would happily come back to do season 2. I'm like, bro, come on. You didn't sign on for one season.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was involved in the writing of the story.
I mean, he executive produced this.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like the man, like I said in a past episode, it is unprecedented the amount of like that Marvel gave him.
Mm-hmm.
Like they literally almost like let him just.
They know his worth. They know his worth.
100%. They literally said, "Do whatever season you want. You're contracted to one season of this. Man doesn't have to appear ever again if he doesn't want to."
Yeah.
Like that is unheard of. He did not sign a 9 contract thing. Like, so, I mean, they knew what they were doing with him. And one thing that I didn't get to say that episode 5 that I loved, people were bitching at the beginning of the season when he immediately wasn't announced that he was Jewish. Immediately, everyone's like, they changed him. He's not Jewish.
The flashback.
Yeah. And then they never spoke on it. They never answered the hate mail. Nothing. And immediately, number 5 comes around. Silence.
Yeah.
No one says a word. They made his dad a rabbi. They made him Jewish. Everything that came from the comics, they still did it. Silence.
Yeah.
silence.
Yeah.
They knew what they were doing when they were making the show.
1,000%.
Hence why they changed Marlene, who was like this white blonde American, to a more ethnic character. They knew this show was done so well, and I think coming out of it, looking back on it, that's what you need to focus on. Is they told this story, and they told this story to the best of their ability without worrying about anything MCU related. And I think that's what makes this show that much better.
They knew what the focus of it needed to be. Plain and simple.
100%. So yeah,
and Vapion, to answer your question, Black Knight is 1,000% coming, my friend.
Oh yeah, no. Even if the Eternals weren't.
So you guys remember how excited Brian was for Moon Knight when it first started? How he's kind of the Moon Knight guy. That's me with Black Knight. Black Knight is my dude. I love that guy. Love that guy.
No, he's a dope character. That's another dude. They teased us and like did a one-toe dip into the supernatural pool, and like it's shallow right now, but I already dove like headfirst in.
It's right now. It's the future of the MCU. The supernatural.
The supernatural stuff.
The witchcraft, and this is the future of the MCU at the moment.
Yeah, like I'm so excited for Werewolf by Night.
Me too.
Like Blade, all give me these vampire. Like it's gonna be so cool. Like,
count me in.
I'm so excited. But yeah, that's gonna do it for us. Our little episode 6 breakdown. Thank you guys for showing up, because I know we didn't do it the last 2 weeks because of all the craziness that's been going on. But we will, I'm sure, talk about it again. I'm sure Keith will want to say what he thought. Gio will want to say what he thought. Maybe Jacob, who knows where his mental state will be at. But we do appreciate you guys for coming, joining us for this episode 6 of Moon Knight. Yeah, as of right now, Marvel Rewind is donezo until Ms. Marvel.
Dude. June. Like 3 weeks.
Okay. Well,
it's like 3-4 weeks.
Okay, yeah. That's like
not that. I mean, it's a break. It's a nice break, but
I keep forgetting it. I keep thinking it's April.
Brian, I don't think we'll have more than a 2-month break on Rewind for the foreseeable future.
I mean, I'm totally fine with that. The fact that I'm getting a new episode of Moon Knight today and going and seeing Doctor Strange tomorrow,
which we will absolutely be breaking down. Note on that. So we'll be doing a spoiler discussion on Tuesday for that, but keep an eye out on our YouTube tomorrow evening, late, or Friday morning for some of you. We are now doing out of the theater reactions, where we're just recording a quick clip,
TikTok,
putting them on there. They're on the TikTok, the Apocalypse Movies TikTok, but they're also shorts on YouTube. We'll have our immediate reactions out of the theater if you want to hear from us. So just check those out.
Likes to shove a camera right in our face and tell, how did you like it?
Put them in the pressure. Put them in the pressure cooker. So yeah, just check it. Just wait.
Last time I think I went the great.
Yeah, I think you said it was, oh my God.
Yeah, I just literally kept saying, oh my God. So yeah, there will probably be more of that tomorrow. So keep an eye out. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Always a blast having you guys having conversations. But until next time, which is like 3 weeks from now, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.